from the Digital Media Center on the campus of Southern Oregon University in Ashland, Oregon. This is Ramping Up Your English, an educational program for intermediate level English language learners. Here's your host for Ramping Up Your English, John Letts.
Welcome to Ramping Up Your English. Ramping Up Your English is for English language learners from all language backgrounds who have already begun the process of learning English as their second language. It's a program for people of all ages. If you're seeking greater English proficiency, this program is designed to help you reach that goal. Ramping Up Your English is a support program for English learners who have already passed the beginning stages of learning English. We take a content-based approach to helping you reach higher English proficiency. We use English to teach English. The theme of our first unit is trains and railroads. This is episode 23, segment 1. In our last episode, we used our English listening skills to understand lyrics of songs. That can be a tough job in a second language, as lyrics often have non-literal meanings. Today, we're going to stretch your listening skills even further. Today, we'll have you listen to an interview to see how much English you can understand. The interview will be within the theme of our unit on trains and railroads, so you'll have an advantage if you've watched our previous programs. Now, let's ramp up those listening skills with an interview with our first guest on Ramping Up Your English, Tyler Darnielle. Tyler, welcome to Ramping Up Your English.
Thank you, John. It's a pleasure to be here.
So Tyler, you took a trip on the Empire Builder. That is the only train of long distance across the West that I have been on but did not do any recording or video. So I'm so grateful that you're going to share with us some of those shots that you took photographically. So could you tell us real briefly, where does the Empire Builder go and what's that about?
Well, our section starts in Portland, Oregon. We take off from there, across to Columbia in Vancouver, down to Columbia River, up into Spokane, across Idaho, across Montana, Wisconsin, down into Chicago.
Wow, quite a distance then. How long did that trip take?
About 2 days, 48 hours, 2 overnights on the train.
Okay. And were you in the coach of the train or the sleeper?
No, we had a sleeper bedroom unit.
I see. When I took that train many years ago, think starving student, I'm in the coach. But even in the coach, the seats are pretty big and they're pretty comfortable. You can spend the night there, although if I'm going from now on, I'll probably get the sleeper. It is more comfortable in there. Okay, so we have these images that we're going to share during this interview. And so we might as well start. Now, you actually got on the train. This is actually not the same train, but you got on Amtrak in Eugene.
That's right, John.
So let's take a look at that image of the Eugene station. So this is a good jumping off point for us in Southern Oregon because it's a pretty easy drive. And from there up, there's several trains that'll take you up north. So let's see another image of the Eugene station and then another one. It's a real neat kind of, very railroadish station, isn't it? And then there you are.
There I am, all excited, ready to go. The anticipation is building.
Oh, I bet by that time you're just, okay,
Can't
so
wait.
you get on the train in Eugene, and about what time do you end up getting to Portland?
We left about, say, noon on the Coast Starlight train.
I see.
We go northbound, takes about 3 hours, drive to Portland, probably approximately 3 p.m.
I see. Now, do you have to overnight in Portland, or can you get on the Empire Builder the same day?
We can get directly to the Empire Builder the same day.
Wow. Well, then you were brave to go outside that station in Portland and take some pictures. So let's see some of these pictures that you took at the Portland station. It's a really neat kind of station. Now, that's for the river, but here's the station, which you can see from the river, and you know that you're in Portland because it says, "Go by train."
That is the classic sign in Portland.
And that's a very unique kind of station. It has a very interesting history, by the way. It's over 100 years old. So let's take another look, and here you are with your wife, Amber, in front of it, and on that side it says Union Station. And let's see the next one. Now, this is the inside, right?
That's correct.
Okay, and I think you have another view of the inside. Isn't that a beautiful station? It's not the busiest station on Amtrak, but it is a beautiful station. As Oregonians, I guess we're proud of there. Anything you want to say about the station while you're there?
Just a real nice, spacious place, good place to eat. There's a first-class lounge if you happen to be traveling in the sleeper car. You can go in,
okay.
have a Coke if you want, have a donut, relax, and wait for the train.
Wow, and I didn't even know Portland had one of those.
Yep.
I know some of the bigger cities do. Okay, let's see the next one. And so here, what is your vantage point on here?
This is the pedestrian bridge over the train platform just outside the station.
I see. So you were pretty brave in getting out there and getting that. So is that the Empire Builder that's waiting in the station, or is that the Coast Starlight?
That might be the Coast Starlight that we just got off of.
I see. But it's that superliner, that double-decker kind of cars that Amtrak has on
That's
all those
right.
long
It's your
distance trains.
classic West Coast train.
Okay, great. Okay, and let's see the next one. So here you are now, if I remember right, you're crossing the Columbia River?
I believe so, yes.
So the Empire Builder goes on the northern bank of the Columbia River.
It does, that's
The
correct.
Washington side, you could say. Okay. And then let's see what's next here. So there you are. Oh, I bet people from Oregon know that. It's a little overcast, but if you look in the background, what is that?
That is Mount Hood.
Okay, so you get a nice view of that. Let's keep going. Now, you took two journeys actually, right? You took one in 2010
That's right.
and one in 2014.
2015.
15,
just
that's
last
right.
year, about July.
Oh, great. Okay, so all these memories are fresh in your mind. And so in at least one of those journeys, you ran into quite a bit of snow.
We did. The first journey was very, very snowy.
Okay. Well, that's the beauty of the Empire Builder. If you want snow, even if you're taking a spring or a fall trip, you're likely to get it. So here's some snow pictures that you got. We can go through those. You got some really nice, you see the evergreen trees up there in the mountains.
Beautiful, beautiful.
That's probably crossing the Cascades, I'm guessing. Or,
It must be Cascades heading through Washington State.
oh yeah, and then they had that whole sawtooth range that's kind of
That's right.
pressed up against that. So if you're a geography person, you're tracking pretty well with us there. Boy, those almost look like glaciers coming down from there. Let's see some more. So you had lots of good shots. Now, this is one of the roads. So I don't know about you, Tyler, but I always have a thought when I see a highway or a car from a train. I don't know if you had the same thoughts, like, oh, thank goodness I'm not driving this.
Exactly, especially during a traffic slowdown. See trucks and cars stopping inside the sleeper car, glass of wine perhaps. I'm comfortable, the boiler's running. I'm happy, they're not.
Oh, this sounds good. Now, in your sleeper, what do you have in there?
Basically, in your Superliner sleeper, you have a bed, you have 2 chairs, and you have your own private sink, bathroom, and shower.
Okay, so that's the full bedroom.
That's right.
Okay, so very comfortable in there.
Very comfortable, wonderful accommodations.
Now, how's the service? How you have a car attendant in there?
We do. He's very, very good. They come by usually every hour, check on us if we need anything. If we want a drink, we want to order from the meal menu if we want to eat in our car. They bring us a reservation list for the diner car if we want that. Very attentive.
So when they say first class, they mean first class
It
service.
is first class.
Okay, that's great. Now let's see what else you have, because this route has lots of scenery. Now that's the train itself looking at the baggage car.
Yeah, that's the baggage car.
And let's go on to the next one. So this is waiting at the station, I
Yep.
think are the names of this. So 2 locomotives I've noticed, and for those long distance trains, they always have 2 locomotives on Amtrak. Okay, so there we're waiting at the station as well. I just love looking at trains. I don't know about you, but I imagine you do. Okay.
I love it.
Okay, so let's see the next one. So that's kind of looking back. So in back of the baggage car, you have the sleepers and then the dining car and the viewing car, right? And then the coaches.
That's right. And our section was in the very back because from Portland, they connected us with the Washington unit in Spokane.
Oh, that's right. I should mention that half of this train leaves Seattle, and you meet up at Spokane and make 1 train out of the 2.
That's right.
Okay, so let's go on to the next one and see. Gosh, I just can't hardly wait. Now, this train goes to Glacier National Park, right? That's the lodge.
Classic lodge right there.
Wow, and you know, the railroad helped establish a lot of these national parks in the western United States. So let's go on to the next one, and that's getting off the train. You knew that guy's name.
Yeah, this guy is Alfred. He was very attentive, one of the best we've ever encountered on Amtrak. A good sense of humor, knew what was going on.
Okay.
A-plus
good.
quality.
Yeah, it really helps when these guys are on their game. I should mention that attendants on the train ride it as long as you do. So if it's a 48-hour ride, they're on there for 48 hours.
That's right.
The engineers and conductors, about every 8 hours, they switch them for safety reasons. And so let's go on and see the next one. So Alfred, goodbye. And here we're east now, and this one really reminded me of my surprise. Western Montana, a lot of it is as flat as a pancake. So you've got all these mountain views first, and then you're out on the Great Plains. Let's see the next one.
Another classic station stop at Havre. Kind of got the old-fashioned refreshment sign here, the old classic Great Northern Station.
Yeah, okay, let's see what's next.
And
Now,
here it is.
And you mentioned Great Northern, that is Jim Hill's Railroad. For rail fans, they know that. And what a beautiful locomotive they have on display there. I think we have several views of this one. So let's see the next view of that. They have all this information on it, which we're not going to take the time to read. Maybe our viewers should go on the Empire Builder and they get to read it for themselves. Okay, so next one. And then that's that symbol, that goat symbol of the Great Northern Railway. And the next one. And then there's a close-up. By the way, that previous shot, don't go back to it, but that's called a tender that they put to tend the locomotive. They had coal back there in the day and then the oil. So let's go on to the next one. So now we're in North Dakota. Anything memorable about
Just a good station stop, maybe 20 minutes, get out, stretch your legs, walk into the station if you want, to do a crew change.
And you're pretty close to the border by
You
here,
really are. You can just about see Canada, if I'm not mistaken, from this place.
And that's pronounced Minot.
Minot, yes. That's how the crew pronounce it, at least.
And I'm trying to remember, so why not go to Minot? Let's go on to the next one. So that's Minot again, and we have the next view. And the next view along here is...
I do believe that is the next station down the train, but I can't recall the exact location of this one.
Okay, so we're probably not in North Dakota anymore. We might be in Minnesota. Let's go to the next one. I think there's a close-up of the sign. We're in St. Paul. So that's the biggest population center I think you see after leaving Portland, isn't it?
That's right, it sure is.
So a lot of rural America in there.
Really is. A lot of rural towns,
Yeah.
a lot of stuff like that. Really neat.
Okay, so let's see the next one. And is that downtown St. Paul?
I'd say it is Minneapolis, St. Paul, one of the two.
Always impresses me how clean those cities appear from the train track. Okay, and then the next one?
Here's the Greyhound / Amtrak stop, probably Minneapolis, I'd say here.
Okay, so let's go on to the next one. What is that, and what's it doing on your train?
This is a private car that showed up somewhere around Glacier National Park.
Okay.
Private entity owns this. They just pay Amtrak a fee. They hook onto the back of the train. It goes for as long as they want.
I see, and I've often been on trains that do have these private cars. Not all of them have the dome like that.
No.
Let's look at the next one, and they have names, as you can see. And let's go to the next one, and you can see it off on the side. And then the next one is over the top of it. And did you take this from the back?
I sure did. We're in the Portland section. We just go to the back of the train, go out the back window, and took that photo. One of my favorites.
I learned how to cheat a little bit in video work. If there's nothing on the back of the train, and you shoot from the back of the train, and then you play it backward, it looks like you're doing a cab ride. Okay, let's go to the next one, because I see we have 2 minutes left. So that's just the Burlington Northern Santa Fe, great big train company, one of the few left. And let's go to the next one. We're going to go pretty quickly through those. So that's boarding the train, and then the next view will show Canadian Pacific, and the next one will show the Mississippi River. So that's pretty exciting to see that, I imagine. Let's see the next one. And this is also crossing the Mississippi. And now we're to the next shot. That's some new equipment. And once in a while, because of the one of the stimulus programs. Amtrak was finally able to buy some new equipment, and it's made in America, made in the United States.
Fantastic.
Okay, we have 1 minute left, but we're going to keep going. And so some people might recognize that symbol from the Red Wing boots.
That's right.
Let's go on to the next shot. And we're going to go pretty quick through Portage, Wisconsin, and then the other one to Portage, and then the next one. So once in a while, just like a little warming hut, like you said. Yep. Common sight from any train are these crossings. So it's kind of neat the first time you hear those ding, 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 and you realize that they're stopping for you. Okay, the next one. Pretty classic northern train station, isn't it?
Fantastic. We see a lot of these along the way, these old-fashioned stations.
Even the colors, okay? So let's go on to the next one.
Wisconsin Dells, a fantastic town, very, very beautiful.
Okay, let's go to the next one. And just to let our technical crew know, I'm going to go a little bit longer than the wrap-up time, but we will kind of speed things up in the views. So let's see the next one. So now we're in Chicago, and let's see the next one. Lots of rail. Chicago, as you know, is a big hub. Next
uncharacteristically empty, though, may I add.
Yeah, really. There's the Chicago River. Next one. And the Chicago Union Station.
Classic. My favorite station in all of the United States. A beautiful, beautiful place.
Okay, and that's the Chicago Sun-Times. So let's very quickly go through these to give a little bit more. These are kind of the highlight views, okay? So my crew's just going to go through pretty quick. We won't have a lot to say because it's mostly just looking at, this incredible scenery that you got to see on this. Isn't that just great? And we're coming up close to your favorite shot. That almost made my favorite one. There's a story with that bridge, but we'll have to tell it later. There's a nice sunset.
Certainly.
That's your favorite shot right there with that fence in the snow.
Love that shot.
And then that's a gorgeous shot in anyone's view. And then here comes my favorite shot. And gosh, that's just incredible. So Tyler, thank you so much for sharing with us these great views and great stories of your trip on the Empire Builder.
My pleasure to be here.
Okay, so we'll return with more of Ramping Up Your English right after this. This is a Ramping Up Your English book review. If you're enjoying our theme of trains and railroads, you might want to check out a catalog from Historic Rail. Their free catalog is aimed mostly at model railroad enthusiasts, but I found some treasures in here worth spending a few dollars on. Sometimes I don't order anything, but I still enjoy the pictures of trains from railroads that no longer exist. This cover features the Burlington Northern, the railroad that pulled the California Zephyr from Chicago to Denver. You can order a model engine or artwork of Burlington Northern, this passenger train pulling into the station. Some pages are devoted to a single railroad, like the Great Northern, whose Empire Builder route is now operated by Amtrak, or the Santa Fe, with its distinctive war bonnet that's designed on its locomotive. Passengers on Amtrak Southwest Chief are retracing the route of the Chief, a famous route operated in the past by Santa Fe railroads. Model railroading is a hobby that's too expensive for me, but I've enjoyed videos, books, and t-shirts that I've ordered over the years. Visitors can visit their website. A book review on a catalog? Why not? I'm John Letts. Welcome back to Ramping Up Your English, a program for intermediate level English learners who want to improve their English proficiency. If that's you, you're in the right place. This is segment 2 of episode 23. So how did you do with understanding the interview? An interview is unpredictable, so your listening skills are getting pretty strong if you followed most of what my guests and I said. We both shared our own experiences, and we focused more on those memories than on the words we used or how we used them. That's called natural or organic communication, and that's the truest test of language proficiency. As native English speakers, we were highly proficient. If you were able to enjoy the conversation we had, then your conversation skills are ramping up to higher levels, even if you struggled at times and didn't understand every word. You also got to see some of the treasures of Amtrak's Empire Builder train. It's one of the great trains that cross the American West. In our previous episode, we left Washington, D.C. on the Cardinal, an Eastern train that passes through some beautiful country. We'll hop back aboard the Cardinal when we return. This is a Ramping Up Your English book review. Reading a book about an instructional theme can make English more comprehensible. Seeing a movie based on that book can do even more to develop tools for English proficiency. If you want to have fun doing this, and I suggest making English learning as fun as possible, read Polar Express, written and illustrated by Chris Van Allsburg. This Caldecott Award winner takes readers on a wild fantasy train ride to the North Pole using much of the lore of American railroads. The story begins in Grand Rapids, Michigan in the 1950s. The plot begins when a boy awakes on Christmas Eve to see a train called the Polar Express. The conductor invites him aboard, and the adventure begins. I suggest reading the book first. It has beautiful illustrations that will provide many context clues for the readers. Then rent the movie to see how the story is treated, and of course to see the awesome special effects. A fun way of supporting your English acquisition is to read Polar Express. At the least, it'll be a fun experience, and you'll think of it every time you drink hot chocolate. For Ramping Up Your English, I'm John Letts. Welcome back to Ramping Up Your English, an educational program for intermediate level English learners who want to elevate their level of English proficiency. We take a thematic approach to making the learning as stress-free and as fun as possible. This is segment 3 of episode 23. In our last episode, we explored a bit of Washington, D.C. and saw a presidential motorcade. We reveled in the cherry blossoms from the Potomac River and toured the Capitol, finally boarding the westbound Cardinal at Washington's expansive Union Station. Today we continue that journey, heading into the mountains of West Virginia. Our trip to Washington aboard Amtrak's Cardinal was timed with the Cherry Blossom Festival. The late winter snowstorm that preceded us delayed the blossoms. A year later, our timing was perfect. And so was the way of enjoying the cherry blossoms. Because of the Potomac River, Washington, D.C. can be enjoyed by boat. From Alexandria, Virginia, you can board a water taxi for a great view of the city. Or, if you're very fortunate, you can enjoy a river cruise on this paddle wheel boat. We were celebrating my nephew's wedding. The boat was chartered by one of my new in-laws. Refurbished. What's the name of the stop there?
There's news that's going down too on this cherry blossom paddle wheel boat.
Cruising toward the city, right where the river channel splits into two, we saw this Navy base. It's a research center, and apparently the home of numerous cherry trees. Washington's Cherry Blossom Festival stems from the gift of cherry trees to the United States from Japan. That gift was made in 1912 by the people of Japan, and the first two were planted by First Lady Helen Herron Taft. The general public gets to enjoy all this color throughout the Washington, D.C. area, especially in the tidal basin, where the trees are numerous. Turning from nautical to terrestrial, this is Washington's Union Station. This is where we'd board Amtrak's Cardinal to begin our westward journey home. Out in front is a statue of Christopher Columbus. The Cardinal was waiting for us here, having started its journey in New York City that morning. Here in Washington, it's exchanged its electric locomotive for a diesel electric, the one that will take us to Chicago via the scenic route. Once we were aboard, the Cardinal wasted no time in pulling out of the station.
We are pulling out of Washington, D.C. Union Station, heading toward Chicago.
We're pulling out.
We're pulling out.
I heard you, I heard the tape. Oh, there you go now, there's DC.
Yeah, we're out of the tunnel now. So this is just Washington with lots and lots. These are apartment buildings. Some of them is probably an office building. Not everything's monumental here.
There's a pole and
Leaving Washington, D.C. and seeing all these office buildings, I reflected on the thousands of organizations that have offices here in the country's capital.
Really?
It's not surprising that my union, the National Education Association, has a presence here, but it seems that every trade association, some you would never think of, to social clubs, all have a presence here in Washington. And then there are the sprawling offices of the various government agencies. When people talk about big government, I can understand some of what they mean. Still, it seems to me that any discussion about reducing the size of the government should begin with listing the things our government does well, like supporting national parks, protecting the environment, and supporting Amtrak. Welcome back to Ramping Up Your English. Our goal is to help you elevate your level of English proficiency in a way that causes the least amount of stress. Our approach is to make English language learning interesting and fun by using a thematic approach. Our first theme is trains and railroads. You can see the interview we did today on my website. That's letscreate.org. Go to the episode 23 page. There you'll also see today's program and the video clips we used. You can also see today's show and even download the program at archive.org/details/Rogue TV. You can see this series on Channel 15 in Ashland and Channel 182 on Charter Cable in other parts of Southern Oregon. I want to thank my volunteer crew, my announcers Bob Ayers, the staff and partners of RVTV, and I want to thank you, our viewers. See you next time on Ramping Up Your English. I'm John Letts.
You've been watching Ramping Up Your English, a support program for intermediate level English language learners. Learn more. Visit our website at letscreate.org. You can also watch or download today's program at archive.org/details/Rogue TV. Join us next time on RVTV Voices for Ramping Up Your English.